Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Simply Colorful FiberCast. My name is Lynn Marquidot. I'm your host, and today's date, I got that mixed up, is September 28th, 2018, I think, I hope. I know it's September still, but only just about. Thank you for joining me. We are on clue 4 of our brown bag mystery quilt, and I'm so glad you could join me. We just are going to sew for an hour. That's all FiberCast is all about, is us coming together and sewing. Or doing anything with fiber, or just watching, reading a magazine. Whatever you want to do, happy Friday, and thanks for joining me. So we have a relatively easy clue. Last week, those of you who were here may recall, the clue was to make 4 applique flowers. I can say I made progress, but I'm not done. I finished 1, and 3 others are basted. So I have lots of work to do back in front of the TV. So that's good. But all 4 of those are ready to do. Tonight, we're going to make more of those letters. I bet you're wondering, what is she going to do with these letters? What are we going to do with these letters? Tonight, we're making letters B-R-A-Z-E-N-F-O-X. And the way we do it, there are 2 methods. You can either do machine applique or paper piecing. I'm doing machine applique. I know several of you are doing paper piecing. Whichever one works for you is the way to do it. So this is a warning for anyone who has not printed out clue number 4. And by the way, if you want access to these clues, become a patron. Go to www.patreon.com/simplycolorful. It's www.patreon.com/simplycolorful. And I want to welcome Mary O'Connell to our team. Thanks for joining. That's where once you sign up for as little as $2 a month, you will get these clues. So clue 4 is 49 pages long. Don't print it out. First, read or print out the first 4 pages and decide if you want to make your letters via paper piecing or machine. Again, I'm doing machine, so that meant I only have to print out pages. I think it was 5 through either 12 or 13. I wrote it in the email. Don't print out the rest. The rest of them are for paper piecing, and I know it feels like you're using a lot of paper because you actually have to glue them together. There are registration points, and you have to glue them together. Anyway, bottom line, once you're all done, sometimes you may not need all 49 pages if you want to do paper piecing. There are ways around just paper piecing the middle and then adding a border. At the end of the day, your square should measure 10.5 by 10.5 inches. And then it will ultimately be 10 inches once we do our seam allowances. So, same drill as back in clue 2, which is print out your letters. Cut them out. I did B and I haven't completed it. So I'm going to do all of them at the same time. I think, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Get yourself 2 pairs of scissors, 1 for paper and then 1 for fabric. So first, these glasses. Let's try another pair. Ooh, who's that? Oh, I wonder if it's Carol. Hey, it is. Hello, Carol and fellow FiberCasters. She said, sorry, I am late. You aren't late. You're right on time. Thanks for joining. In fact, I had not yet introduced the quilt behind me. This is Carol's quilt. Carol, thank you for letting me show it on FiberCast. I love having these new quilts behind me. I just love it. And I especially love this. This is just a traditional half square triangle. Carol was disciplined enough to leave it be 2 fabrics and just repeat it. And it works. It's beautiful. So it's a quilter's choice pattern. If you don't have those cards, check it out on Color Wheel Quilts. And it's just half square triangles. So hi, Carol. I'm glad you're out there. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. I'm about ready to cut out an R. And I guess one faster way to do this is to use my rotary cutter a bit. So on the straightaways of these, I'm just going to use my cutter. So send in what you're working on. Send it to lynn@simplycolorful.com or post it on Patreon or on the Simply Colorful Facebook page. The mystery quilt along is where you post it. I'd love that. Fall is coming. It's time to sew. Let's share our work. It's amazing, you know, the community you've built by virtue of watching FiberCast is 2,600 people strong, at least that we know of. Those are the people that have registered. I've overheard people saying they watch and they don't subscribe, which is fine. The beauty of subscribing to the YouTube channel is you just get a notification when we go live. But you've built a community of people from around the world, including the Netherlands. And I want to, before I forget, I've had this for 2 times now. This is a card from Martoon. I hope I said your name right. Is that just beautiful? Look at those tulips. I love those tulips. And she says, with this card, I want to thank you for the brown bag. So generous and thoughtful. It just means the world to me to get this and to think that it came from across the world, across the globe. So my point is, you're all out there. You're a community. I know you've made friends amongst yourselves, which is just wonderful. Whether it's rooting for teams down under, Wendy and Allie, to hooking each other up to some flannel suppliers, whatever you're doing to enjoy this love we have of fiber and making things and not using our good scissors on paper. That's why it didn't work. So anyway, we're 2,600 strong. And that's a great thing. Okay. So I'm keeping these, by the way. And I would, if you're doing the machine piecing, why not keep these? You may want to use them again. Oh, I should have gone through the steps of the clue. Make sure you're going to make 9 blocks. Make sure you have 9 of these squares, 10.5 by 10.5. Make sure you have 9 squares of these, 7.5 by 7.5, but that sure, a couple of them were thinner. Here we go. 7.5 by 7.5. And then you want, I'm using heat and bond, but you want some sort of an adhesive. You need an iron. And all we're doing is adhering the adhesive to each piece here. I trim it up a bit to make sure that nothing gets on the ironing board that Joyce so wonderfully made for me. And boy, has this ironing board become my best friend. I use it every day, whether it's getting a backing for a quilt ready for the long arm. By the way, this mystery quilt, we're going to have a long arm part to this mystery quilt. I decided, you know how usually we finish these mysteries and we have this top? Not this time. We're going to go through the whole quilting process. Okay, so the key is take your letter and put it wrong side or right side down so it's reading backwards to you. And then with our pencil, draw around it. we go. Don't forget the center of the R. And there we go. Okay, I'm going to put my R, save my R. I'm going to use my rotary cutter to cut the straight parts. So this clue does not require a lot of thinking, really. Put on a good set of music or podcasts. Okay, shut your rotary cutter. Who's been following The Great American Read on PBS? We've seen a couple of the shows. It's all about 100 books that people are recommending, basically classics. And if you go online, say through Overdrive on the library sites, you'll see that they have a lot of these books available, either in ebook form or in audio. Oh, and I'm using, well, I guess that's okay. This is both paper and fabric. I never know which scissors to use. There we go. Okay, so now we have an R. What we want to do is peel off this backing so that the sticky, see how shiny it is on the back. And then we take one of our pieces of yellow and we fold it in quarters to find the center. We do that. Even just finger pressing works fine. So you find the center. And then here's the trick to center it on your block. I measured this at the widest point is 6 inches, okay? So I know on either side of this straight line, it has to be 3 inches. Then down on the bottom, every letter I want to place 2 1/4 inches up. And there we go. So this is in the instructions. And it just is these letters don't have to be exactly in the same place, but it will look better if they're pretty close. Okay. So there we have it. There's our R. So we have B and an R, ready to do some stitching to. Oh, I should bend down a little bit. I'm going to do a few more of these. And actually, let's see who's out there on my iPad. Again, send pictures or notes to lynn@simplycolorful.com if you want to say hi to everyone. Show us what you're working on. Or again, post it or say hi. Hey, Sue. Hi, Sue. Sue says, Clue 3, happy Friday and TGIF. Thank you. You too. Sue says, Clue 2 is done, and I just need to machine applique the letters for Clue 3. Oh, good. I love the colors you cut out. She says, that is on my agenda for tomorrow morning. Sue, for anyone who's out there who might not know this, I believe, I've never met Sue other than through here, and through Facebook. I believe, Sue, that you get a lot done. So you're my idol. she says, so appliquing Clue 3 flowers are on her list for tomorrow. She also needs to make a run to the fabric store for more yellow. Ooh, nothing wrong with that. Ooh, oh, that's right. You're doing scrappy, right? Okay. She says, here's a sneak, nothing wrong with going to the fabric store. Amen. She says, here's a sneak peek of my flowers. And she says, happy sewing to all my fellow FiberCasters. Oh, Sue. Look at that. I love it. Oh, that's going to be so fun. Love it. Enjoy your Saturday. Oh, KB. KB's out there. And she says, hi, Friday couldn't come fast enough. I know it. I want to thank you for having me out there last weekend, KB. That was such a good time. Thanks for letting me interlope on you and Mom. KB says, Friday couldn't come fast enough. She says, I have about half of this week's letters done, but none of the flowers yet. She says, I promise to start them this weekend. That's cool. You can start them anytime you want. Wow, you're cranking on the letters. KB is doing paper piecing, which I definitely know takes a lot more time. I'm psyched that you're out there, KB. And I can tell everyone what happened when we last left you. So we have a story. And Mom, if you're out there, hi, you're part of the story. So last week when we left you, we saw a picture of Mom and KB were in Pennsylvania. And they sent us a selfie of themselves in Pennsylvania at my sister's house, KB's house. Well, unbeknownst to my mother, on last Saturday morning, I jumped in the car and I drove out to Pennsylvania with the intention of surprising my mother, just showing up. I had texted my sister about midweek, like Wednesday of last week, late at night, you know, with my iPad from bed. And I suggested that maybe I would do this. And she said, absolutely, that would be fine. And we're going to go to the fair and we might go to a car race. Just let me know if you're coming or don't, right? So we left it. Okay. Well, I drive out there. By noon, I'm where the fair is. And I text my sister. Within seconds, she writes back, oh, glad you're here. It was about, like I say, lunchtime. She said, we've been through the fair for a few hours. We're getting tired. I think we're going to go home. I said, no problem. I'll meet you there. So hung up my little text, still feeling pretty proud of myself. I'd had a nice trip out. I stopped at Kmart and at Walmart to get a pumpkin and some chrysanthemums. And then I thought, well, I have time. I'll go eat lunch at the bagel place in Bloomsburg, downtown Bloomsburg. And I picked up some bagels to bring. And I was puttering around. I drove toward their home and I saw this shop that I also decided to stop into. It was a secondhand shop. Not really that important to the story, but it was on the trail home to my sister's house. But I was purposefully taking my time so that my sister and my mother, and unbeknownst to me, my nephew, my sister's son, Tommy, could get home, and then I would get there to surprise Mom. Well, apparently, at about the time I stopped at that shop and was outside perusing the merchandise, my sister drove by. She saw me. No one else did. So she pulled in. I didn't. By that time, I'm in the store. Next thing I know, I hear this voice, Lynn, and I turn around and there is my mother. I about jumped out of my seat. I did. I jumped. Actually, I wasn't in a seat. I was standing up and I jumped a mile. I guess I exclaimed. I didn't know I did that. Tommy, my nephew, was there. He said, you lose. My sister was in the other room with the proprietor, assuring the proprietor that no one was having a heart attack. It was just her mother and her sister, both from Massachusetts, having just discovered each other in Pennsylvania. So it was just a hoot. And I filed that under, you can never pull anything over on your mother. Mothers know everything. So that's that. And now I'm remembering why we don't surprise my mother very often, because it doesn't work. So anyway, after that, we also perused the shop, and we went home and proceeded for a day and a half to just have the most nice time. My brother-in-law, T.G. Bob, KB's husband, played with us on Saturday night. We went to the races in Selingsgrove, Pennsylvania. Late model. I don't know if you call it stock cars. I never quite got that part. I loved it. Who knew there was so much, their strategy, although I don't know that very much, but their qualifying heats, the roar of the engines, I just found it thrilling. So we did that, and then we went back to the fair on Sunday, and we saw, man, you want to see a big fair. In fact, the website says they have like 130,000 people that go to this fair. Food booths galore, but the animals galore. So a whole barn full of rabbits and chickens. And then another barn with goats and sheep, you know, and then there were cows and pigs. So you know what are at state fairs. It was just wonderful. A very fun time. And then meanwhile, I know some of you were at other fairs like the Big E out in, is that in Springfield, Mass? And I've seen some of you winning ribbons. I know Jean put the 300th anniversary quilt for Hopkinton, which usually resides in our historical society. It has its own case that's been built for it and everything. She entered that in the Big E fair, got a couple of ribbons, had someone offer to buy it. She said she couldn't because the town owns it now. So that was her foray into the Big E, which was very successful. Anyway, it's fall. It's a great time of year. Sue, are you going to get out in your garden tomorrow? See, that's the thing. We still have to fit the gardening into all the other fabric creations. Do you believe we're going to be thinking about Christmas soon? I don't. Most of this can be done this way. So there are 3 more. Let's stop there and do these 3. See how easy this is? So you just pull out one of these. Okay, this has to be trimmed a bit. Oh! Now I'm feeling really good. This morning I had a wonderful visitor, Jean and her client, and now I'm feeling terrible because I don't remember Jean's client's name. I know all about her. From Tennessee, has a long history of quilt making in her family, found a bunch of Dresden plate patches made out of feed sacks from the 1930s. And Jean from Cider Mill Quilts has taken all of them and put them onto a quilt and made a quilt around them that's just gorgeous. And I am going to custom quilt it. So I'm honored to have this challenge. And they came over first thing this morning, and it was great fun to lay it out. We're going to go with a somewhat traditional, not too fancy, more of an echo around the Dresden plate. So anyway, if you want to know what that looks like, look up a 1930s Dresden plate quilt. And I will be sure to show it to you once it's done. In fact, I wanted to show you this. So this is apparently a bigger plate that I'm supposed to put on my gamel for when I do ruler work. I've never put it on. And I did buy a machine quilting ruler. Do you think I can find it? Let's see. No, it's here somewhere and I will find it. So that is on my list this weekend. I'm going to try and teach myself how to do that. And in this world of YouTube videos, I'm excited to explore. Gamel has some amazing videos out there, and they have really good, a Facebook page for Statler, which is great. The new owners are literally a phone call away. Not that I would bother them unless it was something critical. Okay. So I've just made 3 of those. And now, one at a time, I'm going to draw this on and then cut it again. And then we'll do some zigzag. You could do a very tight satin stitch when you're machine quilting, or you could do a looser zigzag or anything in between. I have chosen a loose zigzag. Like I say, on this mystery quilt, on the last clue, we're going to actually do the machine quilting. And then I will pop it in the washing machine and show you what it looks like after that's done. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay, now I just have 2 little ones. I'm going to do by hand. And there we go. So there's another one. Feel it. So it's nice and shiny. Save the E. That's extra. Okay. I'll save this. I don't need to save that. Okay. Pull out another yellow square. Sorry if you can't see this. Right there. Okay, fold it into quarters. Okay. And then how wide is this at its widest point? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7/8. That's almost 2.5 on either side. So I put this down 2 1/4. Okay. Then we use our iron and we set it. All right. There's an E. Now let's the A you can't do right or wrong, right? So that's okay either way. Here. So what other things are going on? Oh, there's the Merrimack Quilters show tomorrow up in Merrimack, New Hampshire. I think it's in Merrimack. Okay, there's the A, we can save that. Okay, so we're getting close to the A. This really you could do in front of your TV, a lot of it. Although I guess not so much with the rotary cutter, would it? For the centers, you just kind of cut a hole. And if you had an X-Acto knife, or like Deb has her Cricut, or if you have Quilt, there we go. There's an A. So you see how this goes. This quilt's not a doozy, is it? I should have told you that. I hope you inferred it when I didn't call this a doozy. Now, how big is this at its biggest point? It is 6 1/4. So I need 3 1/8 on either side. There we go. Ta-da! Glue, baby, glue. I bet I forgot to peel it. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? I've been thinking we should do contests. There. Now let's go measure 2 1/4 up and 3 1/8 to the left of the line. There we go. Now let's adhere it. Love this iron. This iron was made for things like this. There's an A. One more, then we'll start to zigzag. So this, that's your Z. So I'm going to turn it over like that. Okay, save the Z. There's our Z. That. Okay. Okay. There we go. So let's remember to peel. There we go. It's nice and shiny. Here, this. Okay. All right, how wide is our Z? It is 5 3/4. So almost 3 inches on one side. See how unexact I am? Sure it's going the right way. And it lies flat. Okay, and now we're ready to do our Z. There we go. Okay, so you keep doing that for the N, the F, the O, the Fs, right? And then what do? Well, now we pull out our machine. So put everything aside. Pull out our machine. Turn it on. Hopefully I've plugged it in. I have. I'm kidding. Okay. I'm going to start at the back because the B is the coolest. I'm doing loose zigzag 1.5, 3.3. And then what I do is I start in a corner, and I have gone back and forth. There. Okay. Misty was asking about the corners and I was looking at the way that the needle goes back and forth. And there is a little bit of a trick that I thought I would share is learn where the needle goes back and forth. And when you stop your needle, make sure it's down, and then know where it's going to go. So in this case, my needle's to my left, so I know the next stitch it's going to make will be to its right. So that means I've placed it in a place where when it goes to the right, it'll be half on the red and half on the yellow. It won't all be on the red or all be on the yellow. I don't know if that made any sense. But when you're doing this, you're following the needle, and it goes it goes back and forth, red, yellow, red, yellow, red, yellow. And it's about 1/8 of an inch. So when I come to this corner, I need to sort of anticipate that next 1/8 of an inch over, which way do I want my needle to go? And I'll tell you when I get here. Okay. Okay. I'm putting my needle to the left. It's in the red. So now when I go 90 degrees, my next one will go from the red into the yellow, and it'll go back and forth. And that worked. And I don't cut this really close, the thread, because I take these two and I use a needle and I push it to the back, and then I tie it to those. Oh, now we have to do the inside. Okay. So same thing, just a smaller scale. Not that I change my thread length or anything. But you can slow down when it's a really tight curve. Hold the fabric so it doesn't pucker. And again, okay, so now it's in the pink. Now it's going to go, and it's to the right, because here's my B. When it goes to the left, it's going to go into the yellow. Almost. That almost worked. I'll show you after I do this next one. I'll bring it up close, and maybe you can. Slow it down when I go around the curve. Yellow, red, okay. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. I almost missed a red. I don't know if you can see that up close. And here's what the back looks like. So there's our bee. Ready for the pieces to be hand pulled to the back, meaning the threads. Before I start the A, I'm going to see who's out there. Oh, Carol, hello. Carol over in Yorkshire? Of course. Hi, how are you? It's late there. Are you sleeping? She says, watching live is the title. And she says, hi, Lynn and FiberCasters. Hope you're all well and have had a good couple of weeks. We've missed you. She says, this morning is the first live cast I have caught in a couple of weeks. I've been finishing the binding by hand on a number of quilts. She says, unfortunately, staying up till 1 when you come on while sitting on the bed hand sewing seems to be something I'm unable to do. I can understand that. That's late. She says, I'm quilting a Project Linus quilt tonight. I've attached a photo of the quilt I finished today. Just have to finalize what I'm doing to the back, going to back it with. Yours, Carol Bell in Yorkshire. Oh, I love that one. You know, I've never made that one and I really want to. I like that. It's not the churn dash, is it? Shoe fly? I'll have to look that up. I love it. I like how each of the blocks is the same print and the same background. Very nice. Sleep well. And thanks for being out there. I'm glad. Oh, Becca. Hi. Another live. Becca says, FiberCast and a question about the January Missouri Star Quilt Company retreat. Okay. Well, first off, Becca says, hi, Lynn. I returned to Georgia yesterday after spending the last 7 weeks in Texas, helping my sister-in-law pack for her move to Ohio. It is good to be home, surrounded by lots of fabric and thread. She says, I have missed stitching and sewing. I bet you have. She says, I'm watching live tonight while I sew the large half-square triangles for Free Spirit, designed by Laundry Basket Quilts. See photo of pattern cover attached. Oh, that's delightful. Look at that. I want to do that one too. Carol, that might be a good one. That is really cool. So it's not just the big triangles, half-square triangles, it's little ones too. Love that. So Becca goes on to say, YouTuber Margaret Lewin hosted a swap for the small half-square triangles. Wow! So I have over 700 of those from quilters all over the world. I love that. Margaret Lewin, if people want to check this out, Luewen. So all these little triangles here were swapped. Wow. She says, we are each sewing the large ones to keep for ourselves. Mine are a mottled gray, while the small triangles are all different colors. That's perfect. Question. So now to the retreat. Thank you for that update. Becca says, question, how many FiberCasters are registered for the Missouri Star Quilt Company retreat? Is it full yet? Last I checked, it was not full. So here's a call to everyone out there. If you want to come to Missouri and quilt with us, please do. It's an Elvis-themed sewing party. It's in Hamilton, Missouri. It's January 22nd to 25th. I hope I have that right. Maybe. Go to their website. We have our plane tickets. There are definitely 4, 5, 6 of us, Becca, and that includes you and Gail. I don't know of anyone else yet. I know some people are seriously considering it, and I hope they join. It's just there's no pressure. You can go and work on anything you want. It is a little expensive, I know that. So we've been saving our pennies and we're looking forward to it. Again, it's January 22nd. I hope you can join us. So if you're at all interested in coming and quilting with us, go to Missouri Star Quilt Company, www.msqc.com, and look under their events for their retreats and look for the Blue River, Elvis-themed one on January 22nd. It'd be so fun. It's just, they feed you. You've got a sewing machine there. You've got cutters, you've got a design wall, and you've got at least 10 fabric stores outside of your sewing room. You can go get whatever you need if you need it, or don't. I've carted my Dear Jane blocks back and forth to Missouri 3 times now. I think 3 times. Have I been 3 times or 2 times? I'm losing it. Anyway, every time I go, I bring Dear Jane. She gets very lonely. She stays in her suitcase. Poor thing. Oh, Becca, I'm so glad you're home. It must have been very gratifying, though, to help your sister-in-law and her family prepare for the move. That's so helpful. We missed you, though. We're glad that you're here live, Becca. Okay, this sharp A, I'm doing a couple of turns. Okay, oh, I have to do the inside. So that does remind me, in January, I've not reached out to Missouri and let them know we're coming. I've just signed up, the four of us, my sister, Katie, Alexa, and Becca and Gail. But I might reach out to them and ask if we can do FiberCast from there on Friday night, so that any FiberCasters that come to Missouri Star, you can say hello to your family from FiberCast and say hi to the other FiberCasters. That might be fun, huh? And Carol and Ann and all of you over in the UK, find us a retreat center over there. We can put a plan together. And Wendy and Allie, is there such a thing down under? Okay, there is our A. There's that. Let's see, do we have time for one more? Let's see. Oh, I think we do. Let's do the E. Okay. Almost done with our E. Back and forth, back and forth. Here we have our E. Well, I hope you agree that it's a rather easy clue. And I think I'm going to wait and do the rest of it tomorrow. Maybe after my chores outside, or maybe first thing when I wake up before my chores outside. I'm looking forward to it. So I hope you all have a great weekend and do something fun. And I will see you back here for clue number 5. I can't believe clue number 5, and for October next Friday night. So have a great week. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon. Bye.